This is what 1 pound of fat looks like. Pretty big, isn't it? There are 3,500 calories in this, in 1 pound of fat. So that's how many calories you would have to burn to lose the equivalent of this much fat. Now, there's no precise answer as to how long it would take because the rate that you burn fat depends on a few things. First of all, it depends on your physiology, your age, your weight, your height, and your sex. But it also depends on the type of activity you're doing, the type of exercise that you're doing, and the intensity of that exercise. But I did some calculations, and just to give you some rough ideas, you would have to run for about 5 hours. You would have to do 6 to 7 60-minute HIIT classes back to back. You'd have to lift weights for about 10 hours, and you'd have to cycle for about 8. Now, I don't know about you, but none of that sounds particularly fun. So rather than focusing on the type of exercise that you'd need to do to lose a pound of body fat, shall I tell you how I do it instead? And in case you're wondering who I am, my name is Doug, and I've been a personal trainer and a nutritionist for the last 5 years. And in that time, I've helped well over 100 guys to achieve their goals, whether that be to lose weight and lose fat, to build some muscle, to increase their testosterone, to get their energy levels up, or just to look and feel their absolute best. And I suppose the real goal of this video is to give you a little bit of peace of mind, give you some context, but I think most importantly to give you a little bit of control, to help you to realize that the journey that you're about to go on, or the journey that maybe you're already on, if you're already trying to lose some weight, isn't as overwhelming as you think it is. There's a huge misconception that you have to be doing a lot of high intensity exercise, particularly cardio, to be losing fat, to be losing weight. But that's all it is, a misconception. If you figure out the most sustainable way for you to lose 1 pound of body fat, you just need to rinse and repeat that for the 10, 20, 50, 100 that you want to burn overall. But now you've seen the size of one, hopefully that gives you a little bit of context and helps you realize that you probably don't need to burn as much as you have in your head. Right now, just focus on losing that first pound. All right, so what would I do? I've already told you that there are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. So the first thing I'd want to do is think about the rate that I want to lose that fat at. Well, very conveniently, if I divide 3,500 by 7 days in a week, it comes out to 500. That means if I burn 500 more calories than I'm consuming each day for 7 days, I'm going to lose 1 pound of fat. Now that to me sounds pretty sustainable, but if that doesn't sound sustainable to you, you don't need to worry because now you know the maths, you can make it work for you. So if you wanted to, you could burn 250 calories more per day and lose that 1 pound over the course of 14 days, 2 weeks. So that's the first thing I'd want to be doing. I'd want to be figuring out the rate at which I want to burn that first pound of fat. And then I'd be thinking about how I want to do it. And honestly, whilst I'm always going to encourage you to do exercise, I wouldn't be putting the main emphasis on it. Because as I've just told you, 5 hours of running, 8 hours of cycling, 6 or 7 HIIT classes back to back, none of this stuff sounds particularly appealing. And even if you were to extrapolate that and say, okay, well, I could do the 5 hours of running over the course of a week, that's still like 5 1-hour runs or 10 30-minute runs. That's still 2 4-hour cycles. That's still, nearly a HIIT class every single day. Again, it's still not sounding very attractive, is it? So what I would do is consume 250 calories less per day and burn 250 calories more per day. So what I've done there is created a 500 calorie deficit. And as a result of that, I'm going to lose 1 pound of body fat per week. Because there's two sides to this equation. There's calories in the food that we consume, the drinks that we have that have got calories in them, and then the calories that we burn. But we don't just burn calories during exercise. In fact, the vast majority of our calories we burn at rest. We call this our BMR. It stands for basal metabolic rate, and it's the number of calories that you burn just at rest, which is about 60 to 80%, depending on who you are and what you're doing. And this comes down to brain activity, organ function, breathing, just stuff that your brain and body does to keep you alive. But if I'm consuming 250 calories less and aiming to burn 250 calories more, that now sounds pretty easy. That sounds, more importantly, far more sustainable. And once you understand that, you realize that actually you can probably push the envelope a little bit further because, well, why don't you just consume 300 or 400 calories less and maybe aim to burn 300 to 400 calories more? Suddenly you've created a 750 or a nearly 1,000 calorie deficit. And now if you do that, you could be losing 2 pounds per week. Now, of course, that might sound unsustainable. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but I'm trying to highlight in this video the maths of all of this to you. Because once you understand the science of calorie deficits and how calories are burned and sort of the context of different types of exercise and what they do and how long you need to be doing them and the intensity of them and stuff like that, and also what 1 pound of fat looks like, again, for emphasis, pretty damn massive. Hopefully it gives you a lot more peace of mind and control to realize that what you're about to start or what you've already started isn't as overwhelming, or it doesn't need to feel as overwhelming as you might have put it in your head. The way I'd go about consuming 250 calories less is focusing on 3 things. First of all, I'd focus on getting a high protein diet. A high protein diet is going to keep you full. Secondly, I would focus on staying hydrated, drinking lots of this good stuff. Again, water satiates you. It fills your stomach and it prevents you from getting hungry when you are not actually hungry. And thirdly, I would be reaching for nutrient-dense, highly voluminous, highly fibrous foods. Things like fruit, vegetables, nuts, even dark chocolate is a great example of this that's going to, again, help satiate you. Because it's highly voluminous and highly fibrous, it's harder for your body to digest and break down. So it's going to keep your stomach physically full and it's going to prevent you from feeling as hungry. And then on the other side of the equation, when it comes to burning those extra 250 calories, I'd focus on 2 things. First and foremost, and without a doubt the most important thing, I would focus on walking for about 45 to 60 minutes per day. That's going to be about 8 to 10,000 steps, depending on your height, your stride length, and your pace. But most importantly, that alone is going to help you to burn about 250 extra calories per day. Secondly, I'd be lifting weights, but only 3 times per week and about 45 minutes per session. That's going to help you burn an extra 300 calories per session, so 900 calories extra per week. And now I've created that daily 250 calorie deficit, and I'm aiming to walk 45 to 60 minutes per day, which is helping me to burn an additional 250 calories on top of the fact that I'm going to be lifting weights 3 times a week for 45 minutes, which is helping me to burn an extra 900 calories per week. And relatively speaking, what I've just said sounds pretty easy. I'm not asking you to eat a lot less. I'm not particularly asking you to move a lot more. I'm asking you to spend less than 3 hours a week in a gym. And I'm only asking you to walk for 45 to 60 minutes per day. And doing that, just that, you'd lose nearly 2 of these every single week. Just for context, that's nearly 1 kilogram per week. So then you start to see how you can scale this. Hopefully this video also helped you to realize that whilst exercise is obviously healthy, and of course I'm always going to promote it, it isn't an absolute necessity when we're talking about just weight loss and fat loss. The best way to lose fat isn't by focusing on your workouts. Because even if you were training like Arnold Schwarzenegger 6 days a week for 2 hours per session, you'd only be spending 7% of your week in the gym. What you do in the other 93% of your week is going to count for a heck of a lot more. So that's the video, guys. Hope that was useful. Bye.